We're joined by Senator Joni Ernst, a Republican from Iowa, and I want to talk about your upcoming book in a second, but I want to get to news of the week, especially in the energy sector, because you, Senator, successfully thwarted the administration, President Trump's #2 pick at the EPA, because you had concerns that he wasn't going to be good for the ethanol industry and biofuels. What else can you do before November in order to look out for the biofuel industry?
Well, we have to keep pressing hard on EPA. It's like putting our foot on the throttle with them and making sure that they are upholding the president's promises to our American farmers, our corn growers, as well as those that are producing ethanol. So I have let my committee know that I will not be supporting any more of these EPA nominees until we have some sort of certainty with these small refinery waivers, and especially what we call now the gap year waivers, this new thing that the oil industry is trying to do by going back to 8-9 years in the past and trying to reapply for waivers from those years, which I told Andrew Wheeler earlier this week that he needs to take those gap year waivers and just throw them into the trash. They shouldn't be allowed to go back and apply for previous years and say, oh, yeah, by the way, we had a hardship back then, so we're going to apply for a waiver. It's not right. It's not upholding the spirit of the RFS. Right. So we're just going to keep a hold on it.
Well, let me press you on this, because are you concerned that after November, that whether it's a President Trump reelection or a Biden administration, that the EPA will just move in the direction of oil?
Well, I think that if we have a President Trump, a second go at his presidency, that he will continue with that commitment to the American farmer. He is a man that once he has made his word, he intends to keep his word. And so he has demonstrated with E15 year-round that he really does care about the ethanol industry, the biofuels industry. Right. We've seen some good movement with him on other things important to the farmers, like the waters of the U.S., rolling back those harmful Obama-era administration rules. So we are seeing great progress with President Trump, and he will intend to keep those promises as we move into a second term.
Senator, whether it's agricultural purchases from China or the ethanol industry, you are in one of the closest Senate races right now in the country. Your opponent, Teresa Greenfield, has criticized you in terms of how your effectiveness with regard to the energy sector. And I want to give you the chance to respond.
Absolutely. And I think if she would go back and take a look at what I have done for biofuels, I have been an ardent supporter of our biofuel sector, the American farmer. My father is still out on that farm that he has developed with his own hands. So I am tied to my agricultural communities. I am an adamant supporter of renewable fuels. And the president himself has said that I am relentless when it comes to supporting ethanol and biodiesel. Relentless. And I will continue being that relentless fighter for my farmers and my biofuels industry.
Senator, in the minute that we have left, I do want to ask you, because in your new book, Daughter of the Heartland, you recount some horrific incidents of abuse. And I want to get you to weigh in on why you decided to share your story, to come forward with it, and what you would say in this incredibly politicized, polarizing time, whether you're working in Washington or on Wall Street, to folks who share your story.
Yes, it is an incredibly challenging story. It was hard for me to tell, but unfortunately, my story came out during my very public divorce several years ago. And so I was not prepared to tell my story publicly, but it was out there. And what I found was that many women and even some men came forward and said, Joni, I've been through some of those same horrific events, whether it's domestic violence, whether it is rape. And yet you have gone on to become a battalion commander. You went on to become a United States Senator. And one woman in particular, she said, it is important that people know you can overcome challenges. And, she was right. I felt it was important for me to tell my story so that others would understand, no matter the challenges we face in our lifetimes, that we always have opportunity to overcome those challenges, not let those challenges define us. I choose to be a survivor and not a victim. And I think that's really important to understand. We have resilience. I was grown and raised in a community of resilience. And I want others to understand that in spite of challenges, there is a new day tomorrow. We can find joy in our lives. And certainly in such times like this, we all need to come together and understand there is a new tomorrow on the horizon.